Hey guys, so if you were following along with our last video, which we will link up here, you know that we are having some engine problems, and we are hopefully going to get those fixed today. So thank you guys all for all of you that commented on our video yesterday and helped us troubleshoot that. Super helpful. So we are just finishing up breakfast and cleaning up and dishes and everything, and then we are going to go out and try to get that all fixed. So we've pretty much figured out that it's likely that wire loom that we showed in the video, or the wiring harness that we showed in the video yesterday. And we just need to make sure that all of those wires are properly insulated and get all of those fixed. So what we're going to do right now, since the van is not able to run right now, we're going to pull that wiring harness apart and look at every single individual wire and make sure that none of them are exposed and everything, or find the ones that are exposed. We know there are some that are exposed. There have to be. And then we're going to temporarily tape them up with electrical tape. That's just going to be a temporary fix so that we can get the van running again. And then we're going to drive down into Canmore and get some liquid insulation tape. Liquid wiring. What is that stuff called? Liquid wiring? Liquid tape? Liquid electrical tape? Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, so that will be the more permanent fix. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Basically, we wanted to see, like, you know, because everybody was pretty much in agreement that that's probably what the problem was. And we wanted to, test that out first and, kind of temporary fix it. Like, if we had all the stuff here to perma-fix it, then we'd obviously do that, but since we don't have it, we're just going to pull it apart, wrap electrical tape around the individual wires that look affected, and then that way we can kind of split test to see if that was actually the cause, because Canmore is about 20 minutes away. Yesterday and the day before we were having the problems, only after we drove about 10 minutes or so. So that'll give us a good a good baseline on if that was actually the problem or if it was something different. So we'll wrap it up, clear codes, all that kind of stuff. So, all
right,
it's a work.
Let's go.
So kind of from where we left off last night, yeah, we're going to be cutting this the protective little sheathing off of that loom there, and then we're going to see what wires are affected. Love to video the whole thing, but we're gonna have to get in there and help. It's about 10 degrees outside, so we're gonna have to go quickly, and so we're gonna try to get this done, but we'll be sure to check back in once we get the wires exposed. So that loom we're trying to cut is obviously made to be pretty tough. So our scissors are just office scissors, aren't exactly the best tool for the job. But is it coming apart?
Oh, it's coming apart easily. I'm just trying to be careful because I don't want to cut the wires that are in there, obviously.
There's a lot of wires in there.
Yeah. So honestly, the scissors are working just fine.
Oh, good.
It looks like I'm struggling, but I'm really not.
I thought you were struggling.
No, I'm just going one snip at a time.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this up. Oh, yeah, you can tell where that's got hot in there.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, well, we found our problem.
At least one of them.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do...
This wasn't the problem, this was definitely a problem.
Yeah, exactly. I bet we'll get about 75 horsepower out of it once we fix this too. So I think that... Let's see. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to dive into there and we're going to just put some electrical tape on there so we can get over to Canmore and get some more supplies. Hopefully this will get us over there, and it'll also let us see if that was the problem. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to probably find a way to reinforce where it was chafing on there and get it up off of the block or something like that. I've seen a few people do it like that, and that's kind of the plan going forward. So.
Yep. Okay, I could use your help.
Okay. So there's a lot of wires in there. I said yesterday that there were like 30, and I think there's definitely more than 30.
There's definitely more than 30. So our problem right now is that none of these really look damaged or anything. I mean, they're dirty, but none of them are obviously melted, obviously damaged or anything like that. So we're kind of at a loss to figure out which exact one it is. But, you know, it doesn't really take a whole lot of damage, like maybe not a whole lot of visible damage, to short out a wire, and it wasn't doing it so immediately, and it wasn't like blowing a fuse or anything like that. So it may be something that's just very, very, very minor. So I think what we're gonna do is tape all of this up, move this whole wiring loom a little bit further back, so it's not sitting directly on here and rubbing against this or vibrating against this little channel right here, and clear all of the codes on the code scanner, and then drive it and see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much just going to test it, because we hate, like, because initially we were talking about, and everybody was suggesting to go through there and tape all of those up individually, but I think that's a little excessive, because a lot of...
that's a little impossible.
It's a little impossible and a little excessive, just for the fact that, like, we can tell that there's not visible damage on any of those. So, which we might have to try that eventually if it doesn't work, I guess. But we're going to, we're just going to temp fix it. And basically, just like the fact that we've moved all these wires around. If there's two wires with just little pinholes on them, that should. we've splayed all the wires totally apart, and now if we tape them back together and just get them back in place, that'll give us a good starting point of figuring out if that's actually the problem. And yeah, then we'll go from there. Then we've got a little bit more evidence-based data to support a claim of what our problem is. So
that's very scientific.
I know, super scientific. You never know that I was a C student. I wasn't a D student. But anyway, we're gonna tape this back together and then take it for a drive and see what happens.
Okay, so I am just clearing all of the codes right now, the error codes, so that if this does happen again, it will pull up the codes again. So we kind of know, we kind of have a baseline. We're resetting all of this, so we have a baseline. So.
Yeah, and hopefully if we reset these codes and it does it again, it'll
hopefully it'll give us a more specific one.
Yeah, hopefully, like as soon as the check engine light goes on, if it does, hopefully it doesn't again, but if it does, then it may be like injector 4 short or something like super specific.
Yeah.
Then we actually have a wire to go off of that it's actually having the issue with. So she's going to clear these codes, and then we are going to leave, and we'll check back in when something happens, or if something doesn't happen, we'll also check.
Yeah, I still need the keys.
I have lost them.
Oy.
All right, that's the end of that. Yes.
All right, end of van life. This is it.
Is that
this is the end?
Life?
Faux rizzle.
That's not him. What did you do with them?
Me? Right here.
Oh, okay, good job.
You put them up there. Okay, so we made it. We made it back to the campground. We made it all the way to Canmore, which is about 10 miles away. I think it was like 17 kilometers away. And no check engine light, nothing. Everything was fine. No misfires. We made it all the way back here. We did go ahead and go grocery shopping and all of that, just in case we are stuck here for another couple of days. Just actually turn the ignition on and the check engine light is on.
That's because the engine's not on.
That's because the engine's not on. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the codes anyway, just to see if it did throw any kind of codes while we were driving.
Testing stuff, testing. All that good stuff. Yeah, it drove great. While that's testing, it takes a few minutes for that to run through everything, so I'll ramble for a minute because I'm not going to cut this out in editing. Ran fantastically. Like I said, no misfires or anything on the way there. No faults. What we got? Let's see it.
It actually says no DTCs. I'm not sure what that means. DT code. Something code. Okay. So that's on the engine. Let me check a couple of other ones that had faults before. No, we are all good. We have one code. CAN bus, failure of interior CAN bus. 9026. Okay, so we can Google that one.
Yeah, and somebody had mentioned yesterday on one of, let's see, I can't remember if it was on YouTube or on one of the Facebook groups about the CAN bus, kind of explained what that was. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we can go back and look at that.
Okay. And I do remember, so before, we've always had one code that always comes up, and it's for the license plate open circuit.
Yeah.
Because our license plate light we changed it out to an LED, and so it doesn't pull enough amps to, for it to read it. But I'm actually not even seeing that one on here.
No. We should have some kind of tire pressure thing come up because we're running a little...
Oh, there's the license plate one.
Okay, a little under pressured on our tires right now since it's wintertime.
Yeah, and so the CAN bus and the license plate one are actually on under the same code. Mm-hmm. Not the same code, but under the same category of codes. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but...
Cool. So, I mean, if that wasn't the problem, that was like the thing that was like stalling out the engine. And so, yeah, I think we're just going to go with that. We're going to go out there. We bought some liquid electrical tape. And since there's all those wires in there, and we're not going to be, and we'll talk about that in here where it's nice and warm rather than out there. Since we didn't find any wires that were obviously had abrasions on them or anything like that, we weren't going to try to put a piece of electrical tape around each and every one of those. That would have been super, super messy, cumbersome. Probably wouldn't have fit back in that little saddle. So what we decided to do, and it's going to be a messy fix, but we're okay with it, is we are just going to take this liquid electrical tape and kind of splay all those wires out the best we can and literally coat all of the wires. The problem with doing that is that it's going to make that whole section of wires to where if something goes wrong in the future, we can't really get in there and really inspect the wires very easily and individually and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is like the way we justified that is, if we needed to if that area is still causing a problem, like in the future, we're going to need a whole new wiring harness. Like that's something they're going to have to pull out a whole wiring harness and rewire, because it seems like you can fix something once, like make it work, and it's like the second time it breaks, you need to actually fix it right. So this is our gimme.
This is our Band-Aid fix.
This is our one gimme, and hopefully it'll hold. I mean, I've had Band-Aid fixes last forever. I mean, so we'll see how that goes. Yep. And we aren't going to take it into the mechanic immediately. So we're going to put this on there. Then we're going to tape it back up. The other thing, where the wire loom sits in that saddle, I think a lot of people had recommended, and we had seen where we were going to try to like move the wiring loom up out of that little saddle. Mm-hmm. We're not going to do that this time around because there's a cover that goes over the whole thing, and that cover kind of like shield. It pushes it down. That heat shield pushes those wires down into that saddle, and so what we were thinking on that is there's a very small channel that all those wires have to fit in, and so there's no room. Like if we try to like lift it up just a little bit, I feel like it's just going to be in the same problem basically. And so we're going to just keep them taped really tight, and kind of our thought is that there's all of those wires were probably in there just vibrating just a little bit, and they were able to vibrate enough to wear the insulation through enough to where they were able to short out just a little bit in a pinhole spot. And so if we tape them together really tightly, they're not going to be able to vibrate like they were. That's kind of our justification on that. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what we're doing. So, do you have anything else to say?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's go out and put this on there.
Okay.
Okay, got our fix. And give it a shake, and a stir, and a rattle. Okay.
You can do it. I believe in you.
I don't think I can. Okay, flash. Okay, so this stuff is really, really liquidy. It's very thin kind of stuff. I've never actually worked with this before. Never had to. But what I want to do is basically just try to. This is going to be super nasty and not a very clean fix at all, but I do think that it's going to work. We're just going to get these apart, and I'm going to try to get as much of this in there as I can, basically. I've got this. I got a paper towel here, then I got some like duct tape underneath to like kind of make a little bit of a protective layer so it doesn't get all over the rest of everything. So we're going to do a few different layers of this, honestly. We'll probably do, it said at least 2 on the instructions. And liberally coated, I guess. Don't you say, Steph?
Yeah, for sure.
Just really get it on there.
Yeah.
Nasty like.
That's just a lot more liquidy than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be thicker, like kind of a goop.
Plasti dip. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of put like.
I liked my word, a goop.
That's a good word too. I'll kind of put like several, like just a lot on the top here and let it kind of like seep down through the bottom. But that's that. This is just going to take a little bit to do, so probably have Stephanie cut out unless you've got anything to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think the only thing that I have to talk about is this is really not the worst place to be broken down. Look at that view. Really can't complain here.
Okay, so first layer is done. Looks just as nasty as I thought it was going to, but it's covering very, very well. So, let's see. Sorry.
Hi!
Okay. Yeah, so covering really, really well, honestly. Like I said, never used this stuff before, and one coat is pretty much covered up all of the color on the wire, and obviously I know that it needs a little bit more, and so we're going to probably do 2 more coats.
Yeah, at least.
We won't put that on video though. It's just 2 more of the same glooping on the stuff. We'll get a finished product kind of thing and then start wrapping it up.
Okay, so we got 3 coats of the liquid electrical tape on this, and we are about to basically, it got really good coverage, honestly. I don't know if you guys can see in there really well. I don't have gloves on, but this, just that hang down, kind of just a little bit of the excess drip. Anyway, so we're pretty happy with the coverage that it got on here. So now basically what we're going to do is pull the sheathing back together and then tape it up with electrical tape just to kind of hold all of that in and obviously put that all back together. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully that will work really well. Hopefully that'll keep all of that from vibrating around anymore. We're gonna wrap it up pretty tight so that, I think Nate mentioned this earlier, but we're gonna wrap it up pretty tight so that the wires can't vibrate against each other anymore. So we think that might have been the problem, or part of the problem at least. But this is a two-handed job, so Nathan is going to four-handed, yeah, two-person, two-hand job. So we're gonna have to not film this part.
So we got it all taped up. Got it taped up like super, super tight. So these wires are definitely not gonna be moving around inside of there anymore. And that's going to fit down right back in that channel that we were having the problem in, because that cover goes right over the top of it. The thing now, like, we're pretty sure this is going to work, but the thing about like owning a vehicle for like a longer period of time is you start to know its quirks. And so if this problem starts happening again, we'll know like where to start looking. And we start looking there. It's like some of these other little spots that like other YouTubers were saying that they were getting chafing issues on the wires. We'll check those out, but we know where to start basically. So we just have it electrical taped up right now. We will be doing some kind of like heat reflective kind of tape, or something a little bit more substantial than electrical tape when we get on down the road, because they had nothing that we liked in that little town. So that's the best we could do, and we're just going to keep our eye on it, like probably every 2 or 3 fuel changes, or fuel every time I fill up a fuel, I'll maybe pull this apart, because it's really easy to get in here, like 5 minutes kind of thing, and check it out and make sure it's not getting worn or anything like that. But given today's little trip into town, we're pretty confident that it's going to work, that that's actually the problem. And that's going to be the end of this video, and we're going to say it's fixed. And obviously, you guys know that we'll let you know if something happens and it stops working on down the road.
Yeah, so let's hope that it doesn't stop working on down the road. But other than that, I think that's it for this one. So super big thank you to all of you guys that helped us out last night and commented and were super helpful. Yeah, I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. Yeah. All of that help and everything, making sure that we're looking for the right thing and getting this fixed and getting us back on the road and all of that. So
yeah, pretty much. That was pretty awesome to have a little bit of collaboration.
yeah, we appreciate it.
So anyway, hope that's it, and we'll check back in and stay tuned for more adventures. Now we're back on the road.